Few names in Hollywood history shine as brightly as Audrey Hepburn. The legendary actress, humanitarian, and fashion icon captivated the world with her timeless beauty and profound compassion. However, fate dealt Audrey a cruel blow. From a childhood plagued by hunger and near-death experiences to an adulthood scarred by loss and trauma, and finally the battle with cancer that took her life. This is the untold shocking story of Audrey Hepburn's life. And meanwhile, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new untold stories about Hollywood stars. Smash that like button and hit the notification bell. Audrey Hepburn was born in Brussels on May 4, 1929. The daughter of a family that appeared wealthy and well-placed, yet was fractured by irreparable cracks beneath the surface. As a child, Audrey moved constantly with her parents from London to Arnhem and then to other parts of Europe. This nomadic lifestyle helped the young girl absorb cultures quickly and become fluent in 6 languages at an early age. But behind that polished, cultured exterior lay a painful truth. Audrey's parents were ardent supporters of the fascist movement rising across Europe. They even traveled to Germany to attend rallies, cheering for an ideology that history would later condemn as one of humanity's greatest evils. Her father, Joseph Rustin, took it even further. In 1935, he abandoned his wife and daughter, moving to London to serve the fascist cause. That became the first and deepest wound in Audrey's heart. Years later, she would confess, "My father's departure was the most painful event of my life. Nothing could ever fill that void." Then the war came. When World War II broke out, Audrey was sent to the Netherlands. Her parents believed it would be safer there amid the chaos engulfing Europe. But just a few years later, in 1940, the 10-year-old girl witnessed the German army storm across the border, occupying the peaceful land she called home. To avoid being identified as British, she changed her name to Van Hemstra, adopting her mother's surname. Audrey's childhood world turned into a living nightmare. She saw relatives arrested, 2 beloved uncles executed, and endured endless nights wondering if she would live to see another day. During those dark years, Audrey did more than hide. She resisted. The frail, pale girl became part of the Dutch underground resistance. Her mission was to deliver secret messages for the Allied forces, tiny slips of paper hidden inside her ballet shoes. Each step seemingly innocent, but carrying information that could save lives or cost her own. Every outing was a gamble. One small mistake could mean capture or execution. Yet she continued because, as she later said, "Fear cannot stop you from doing what is right." What's remarkable is that even amid war and hunger, Audrey never lost her passion for ballet. Trained at a boarding school, she dreamed of becoming a professional dancer. When her country starved, she still performed. Small underground recital took place in basement shelters where a few dozen villagers sat silently, listening to music and watching her dance. Not merely for entertainment, but to raise funds for the resistance. Those dances were flickers of light in the darkest of times. Then in 1944, a devastating famine struck the Netherlands. The German forces blockaded all supply routes and people began dying of starvation in the streets. Audrey and her mother survived by eating bread made from tulip bulbs and drinking water mixed with starch. Her body grew frail, her ribs visible beneath her thin skin. Yet her eyes still shone with quiet strength. In 1945, when the war finally ended and the Allied forces liberated the country, Audrey, the fragile girl who had once danced amid bomb raids, was free at last. When peace returned, Audrey refused to abandon her artistic dreams. She earned a scholarship to study in London at the Ramire Ballet Academy, one of Europe's most prestigious schools for aspiring dancers. But harsh reality soon set in. Years of malnutrition and war had taken their toll. Her health was fragile, and her body no longer fit the strict physical demands of a professional ballerina. Heartbroken, Audrey realized that the dream which had carried her through the darkest years, ballet, might forever remain out of reach. Still, she was not ready to give up. Audrey found another path to express her passion: acting. At first, she never intended to become an actress. The small roles she took were simply to earn a living. But those performances in musical theater allowed her to do what she loved most: to dance, to move, and to keep the rhythm of life alive within her. While filming a scene for Monte Carlo Baby at the Hotel des Arrêts, Audrey caught the eye of the legendary French writer and actress Colette. "I know you think of yourself as just a child," Colette told her bluntly, then asked if Audrey would like to play the lead in her Broadway play, She. Within a single month, it seemed as if the stars themselves had aligned for her. In less than 30 days, two of the grandest doors in entertainment, Broadway and Hollywood, swung open for the young woman barely in her 20s. While preparing for She in New York, legendary director William Wyler happened to watch Audrey's screen test. He was searching for the female lead for Roman Holiday, and his original choice had been Elizabeth Taylor. But the moment he saw Audrey on screen, all his plans vanished. "That's her," Wyler said. "That's the princess I need." At that very same moment, Gregory Peck, one of Hollywood's biggest stars, recognized what the world had not yet seen, a star in the making. Peck himself insisted that Audrey Hepburn's name be placed alongside his on the film's poster. An extraordinary gesture for a newcomer. And indeed, Roman Holiday didn't just bring Audrey to Hollywood. It completely redefined the standard of beauty on screen. In an era dominated by the sultry allure of Grace Kelly and Marilyn Monroe, Audrey appeared like a breath of fresh air. She didn't need a voluptuous figure or a seductive smile. Just a tilt of her head, a gaze both shy and self-assured, and the audience was instantly captivated. Her portrayal of Princess Anne was both delicate and strong, the perfect blend of femininity and modern independence. Her short hair, thick eyebrows, slender neck, and fragile shoulders formed a look that was uniquely her own. In 1954, photographer Cecil Beaton described her as the public embodiment of the new feminine ideal, a woman who dared to step outside the rigid mold of Hollywood beauty. When Roman Holiday premiered, Audrey became a global sensation. She won the Academy Award for Best Actress in her very first leading role, an extraordinary achievement few could ever claim. Just 3 days later, she earned a Tony Award for her performance in the Broadway play, Undine. To the public, she was no longer the timid, wide-eyed girl. She was Audrey Hepburn, the embodiment of beauty, talent, and grace. But with dazzling fame came inevitable shadows. In Sabrina 1954, Audrey starred opposite two Hollywood legends, Humphrey Bogart and William Holden. Bogart, accustomed to glamorous and sultry co-stars, was unimpressed by the youthful newcomer. He remained distant, even irritated, believing the role should have gone to his wife, Lauren Beale. Holden, however, was instantly smitten. A tender yet secret romance bloomed between the two. Quiet, passionate, and doomed. Holden was a married man battling his own demons, alcohol, loneliness, and the fear of fading away under Hollywood's relentless lights. Audrey, on the other hand, longed for a stable home and children. She soon discovered that the man she loved could never give her that. Holden had undergone a vasectomy. When he proposed, Audrey gently refused. She chose clarity over heartbreak, leaving Holden with a shattered heart. Years later, it was said that he never forgot her. While Audrey looked back on their affair as a bittersweet interlude in the bright symphonic melody of her youth, the success of Roman Holiday awakened Hollywood. A new era of actresses in the mold of Audrey Hepburn had begun. Amidst the whirlwind of fame, Audrey met Mel Ferrer, a close friend of Gregory Peck. Ferrer had been married twice, was a father of 4, and much older than her. Yet when they spoke, every barrier seemed to disappear. Perhaps Audrey saw in him a soul that had known both love and loss. Someone who understood the value of peace, something she had always sought amid the storms of stardom. In September 1954, the two held a quiet wedding ceremony in Switzerland. Both believed they were beginning the most beautiful chapter of their lives. But that happiness was soon tested by the silent sorrows fate had in store for her. Not long after the wedding, Audrey became pregnant with her first child. The news filled her with light. A woman who had endured war, hunger, and loneliness was finally on the verge of experiencing motherhood. But fate was unkind. In 1955, Audrey suffered a miscarriage. The loss shattered her. She hid her tears behind her familiar gentle smile, continuing to work, to pose before cameras as if her world hadn't quietly fallen apart. 4 years later, hope returned. Audrey became pregnant again, her heart full of faith and anticipation. But during the filming of The Unforgiven in 1959, tragedy struck once more. She fell from a horse and broke her back. The physical pain was nothing compared to the terror of losing another child. Even while wearing a brace and enduring constant agony, Audrey persevered, finishing the film without complaint or self-pity. But heartbreak returned. She miscarried for the second time. This time, she nearly collapsed under the weight of grief. Yet deep inside, Audrey never stopped believing that life still held kindness for her. And she was right. On July 17, 1960, she gave birth to her first son, Audrey Hepburn Ferrer. As she held him in her arms, tears streamed down her face, mingling with her smile. To Audrey, he wasn't just a baby, he was a miracle, a gift earned through every pain and loss she had ever endured as a woman, standing on the fragile line between hope and heartbreak. Less than a year later, Audrey stepped into the role that would cement her legend, Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany's, 1961. Ironically, even as a major star, she still faced skepticism. Author Truman Capote, who wrote the original novella, had always wanted Marilyn Monroe for the part, not Audrey. When Monroe turned it down, fearing the role would damage her reputation, Capote was furious that Audrey had been cast instead. Every time he appeared on set, the air grew heavy, and the sensitive Audrey became even more anxious. She later admitted she didn't see herself as a natural fit for the role. "I'm not a sexy, daring woman like Holly." That self-doubt took a toll on her. She lost a significant amount of weight, her already slender frame growing even more fragile. Yet from that fragility, Audrey created something extraordinary. Somehow she transformed Holly, a free-spirited, seemingly shallow girl, into an icon of timeless elegance and emotional depth. From the little black Givenchy dress, oversized sunglasses, and pearl necklace to her signature updo, every detail became a lasting symbol in American cinema. Off-screen, however, Audrey's relationship with her own appearance was surprisingly complex. While the world idolized her as the ultimate standard of beauty, Audrey herself didn't always love what she saw in the mirror. No amount of admiration could shield her from the quiet insecurities that followed her throughout life. To her, she was simply an ordinary woman, but to one man, she was an eternal muse, fashion designer Hubert de Giovanni. When they first met during the preparations for Sabrina, Given had expected to work with Audrey Hepburn. Instead, Audrey walked in, gentle, gracious, and radiant. The moment she slipped into one of his designs, he knew he had found his muse. From that day on, their partnership became legendary. Not a romantic love, but a creative one. Together, they built the image of Audrey Hepburn, pure yet sophisticated, fragile yet powerful. Given once said, "She doesn't wear my clothes, she gives them life." In the years that followed, even as Audrey's fame reached its peak, the scars within her never truly healed. War, loss, miscarriages, and the relentless pressure of fame all became silent shadows following her wherever she went. Yet perhaps it was those very shadows that made her light so extraordinary. A light defined by kindness, resilience, and grace beyond measure. Throughout her life, Audrey was haunted by the wound of her father's abandonment. Many critics have suggested that this deep trauma led her to unconsciously seek a father figure in her relationships. And indeed, her husband, Mel Ferrer, often played that role, controlling and shaping her career with a firm, almost domineering hand. Over time, Audrey's love for Ferrer began to fade. After 14 years together, their marriage quietly fell apart. People whispered that he was too authoritarian, while she had grown weary of living within boundaries not her own. Rumors of infidelity on both sides only deepened the cracks. Yet strangely, it was after the divorce that Audrey truly began the journey of rediscovering herself. A turning point that would redefine her life. In 1967, at the height of her fame, she made a decision no one expected. She walked away from Hollywood. The lights, the red carpets, the acclaim, all of it suddenly felt distant and hollow. Audrey realized she had lost something far more precious, her son Shaw's childhood. Having grown up without her own father's love, she feared her son would face the same emptiness. So she made a promise to be the best mother she could be, even if it meant giving up everything else. That same year, fate introduced her to Andrea Doy, an Italian psychiatrist. Charming, elegant, and endlessly captivating. To Audrey, he was like a breath of fresh air, a gentle escape from the ghosts of her past. They married in 1970, settled in Rome, and had a son together. Luca. In the beginning, their life was idyllic, mornings filled with the aroma of Italian coffee, afternoons wandering the streets lined with jasmine blossoms. Audrey believed she had finally found her fairy tale ending. But fairy tales don't exist in real life. The man she trusted, Doi, turned out to be a notorious womanizer. Italian tabloids erupted when paparazzi exposed his affairs, along with a shocking claim that more than 200 women had passed through his life. Audrey, true to her nature, didn't rage or sue or make headlines. She simply withdrew quietly, gracefully, as she always did when her heart was breaking. She returned to the screen in Robin and Marion opposite Chicanery, a performance strong enough to remind the world Audrey is still here. But by the time she starred in Bloodline, she had drifted into another forbidden affair. Her co-star, Ben Gazzara, a man carrying wounds much like her own, became her solace. Two lonely souls found each other in the shadows. But both the affair and her failing marriage ended in quiet heartbreak once more. After her final return to the screen, Audrey left Hollywood for good. She moved to the small Swiss village of Tolosha, settling in a modest home called Lisla, which means peaceful. There she could walk her dogs along cobblestone paths without being recognized. No cameras, no red carpets, just the wind, the trees, and golden afternoons. In Switzerland, Audrey was no longer a movie star. She was simply a woman learning to forgive her past. It was there that she met Robert Walders, the man who brought her heart back to life. Walders had been married to actress Merle Oberon, and after her death, he sold all of her jewelry and donated the proceeds to charity. An act of compassion that deeply moved Audrey. With him, she found what she had been searching for all her life: warmth, generosity, and a love that didn't seek to control. "He didn't want to change me," Audrey once said. "He just wanted me to be happy." For a while, it seemed as if she had finally found peace in her quiet corner of the world. But destiny knocked once more. During a fundraising concert for UNICEF, Audrey was invited to speak about her memories of the war, about the little girl who once hid in bomb shelters, who fainted from hunger during the famine in the Netherlands. Her story left the audience silent. Afterward, a man approached her, the executive director of UNICEF. He simply said, "We need you." From that moment, Audrey's life took a new direction. She became a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador, traveling across dozens of countries from Africa to Asia, bringing food, aid, and hope to starving children. This time, the lights that shone on her were not from film sets, but from the blazing sun of distant arid lands. Yet Audrey never complained in the way she looked at a child from Ethiopia, in the tenderness of her touch. Perhaps that was the most beautiful moment of her entire life. By the 1960s, Audrey began to feel an unshakable need to find her father, the man whose absence had left her childhood filled with loneliness and longing. With the help of the Red Cross, she traced the whereabouts of Joseph Rustin, the man who had abandoned her amid the chaos of wartime Europe. When they finally reunited in Dublin more than 2 decades after their separation, Audrey did not find the warmth or affection she had hoped for. The man standing before her was distant, cold, almost as if no blood tie connected them at all. The meeting broke her heart, yet instead of resentment, Audrey chose forgiveness, because for her, compassion had always been stronger than pain. Quietly, she supported her father financially for the rest of his life, a simple act, yet one that spoke volumes about her grace and humanity. 3 decades later, after she had become a global icon, Audrey faced the final test of her life. In 1992, following an arduous humanitarian mission with UNICEF in Somalia, she began to experience severe abdominal pain. Doctors soon discovered a rare form of cancer that had been silently growing inside her for years. Audrey received the diagnosis with her signature calm, the same strength she had shown through war, loss, and solitude. She underwent surgery and chemotherapy in Los Angeles. But when all hope faded, her dear friend Hubert de Giovanni arranged a private jet to take her home to Switzerland, to the place where she could rest peacefully, surrounded by love and serenity. In her final days, Audrey chose not the spotlight, but the quiet embrace of nature. Her small garden, the sunlight, and the sound of birds singing outside her window. Though her body grew weaker each day, she continued to radiate a gentle light that brought peace to everyone around her. On January 20th, 1993, Audrey Hepburn passed away in her sleep at the age of 63. There were no loud cries, only the faint scent of flowers, just as she had lived gracefully, purely, and full of compassion. Audrey Hepburn never saw herself as a movie star, but the world did. She became an eternal symbol of elegance, empathy, and timeless beauty. With 4 of the most prestigious awards, an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony, she was not just a Hollywood legend, but living proof of a simple truth that real beauty is not found in appearance, but in the way one loves the world.